Well, good morning. Welcome. How are we today? Good, good. Well, I'm feeling good too. What do we got? So, Mandy left the office on her lunch break, and after taking the elevator down to the sidewalk, she realized that she only had 15 cents in her pocket. And she was so hungry, and she thought, what food can I possibly get for 15 cents? And she looked over, and there was a pet store. So she went in, and she got a little baggie and went to the bulk bin, and she bought herself 15 cents worth of rabbit food. And then she stood on the sidewalk, crunching these little pellets. And somebody walked up and said, "What are you eating?" And she said, "These are smart pills. They make me smarter." The person said, "Really?" She said, yeah, you can find out for yourself. I've got a few left. They weren't cheap, but, I'll give you what I've got for $10. The guy said, okay. He gave her the money, took the bag. She started walking toward the cafe, and bit one, she heard a voice behind her. "Hey, these are rabbit pellets." And she said, "Yes. You see, you're getting smarter already." Well, welcome. Welcome to this place which we make holy by our presence. These doors are open to all. We welcome diverse ideas of the source of life, diverse needs, and diverse abilities. Here, you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, where the human is celebrated, where compassion is strength. Welcome to this place. Together, we make it a holy place.
Good morning, and another welcome. Better? In the back, can you hear? Okay. Welcome to the beloved community known as UU Amherst. I'm Laurie Kasnicki. I've been a member here for 17 years and just came off the board a year ago. Our minister, Reverend Michelle, is on vacation this week. Our speaker this morning, whom you just met, is John Snodgrass, a frequent guest in our pulpit, and he offers humorous and enlightening insights into various religions and their myths and practices. His topic today is Rabbit on the Moon. We look forward to his thought-provoking reflection this morning. Children and youth will be dismissed to morning activities following the time for all ages. Nursery care for infants through preschool is available every Sunday in the room just beyond the atrium, through the green and growing space adjoining the chapel. Parents are welcome to keep children with them in the chapel, leave them in the care of our experienced child care team, or stay and play with their children in the child play space. For those gathered in the chapel, I invite you to put your phones on airplane mode, or as we like to call it, worship mode, so that you and all may be fully present and free from distraction, as well as freeing up web bandwidth so our live streaming friends are able to enjoy the service without disruption. And now, let's do what we do best in this congregation and welcome one another, newcomers and long-timers. Let the welcoming begin. Up. Should I do it another time? Because they're still standing there. Our opening words are from Unitarian Universalist minister Barbara Peskin. These are our opening words, not only because they open our time of worship, but because they are meant to open us up, to open our hearts and minds to the possibility that we are all worthy, all finding our place in the family of things. For the beauty of the earth, the spinning of the blue-green ball, yes, Gaia, mother of everything, we walk across your back. We come together again in this place to remember how we can live, to remember who we are, to create how we will be. Gaia, our home, the lap in which we live, welcome us. It is our custom when we gather to light a flaming chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment, to bring more compassion and justice to the world. Please join me in our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Each week, as we light the chalice to symbolize the gathered community, we also acknowledge that our church is built on holy ground, ground that was first cultivated and occupied by the Haudenosaunee and those known as the Neutrals. We honor them and the land as we plant and tend gardens, blaze and tend trails, and cut and replace invasive species with native ones. We call that space the Ecology Center, a place to teach and learn and to listen to and speak for the diversity of plants and wildlife. We offer this libation as our giveaway, a symbol of our respect for and deep connection with the land. May we be good stewards of the land and courageously cultivate community with all living things.
Please rise for our song of intention this morning, found in the gray hymnal, Come Sing a Song with Me, number 346. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
We are a beloved community, a gathering of people who have chosen to journey together, to encourage one another, and to be part of something important and life-changing. Because we aspire to be such a people, we make bold promises about how we will be with one another. Whether today is your first time or you've made UU Amherst your longtime home, you are invited to share in our sacred promise. Please join as we recite. Together we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world. Each week, we pause to bear witness to one another's joy and pain, to make room in the circle and in our hearts for all that we bring. You'll note that the table where we acknowledge our joy and pain is round, a gathering place. Even as you bring your individual hopes and cares, you are part of a circle of love. So, gather round, exchange a glance, a smile, even an encouraging touch. We can let go of neat lines and embrace the messiness of community. Come forward and place your stone in the company of others. Please come to the front. Thanks, Amy. Let's share a few breaths as we expand our circle to include those who may not be present, but whom we carry in our hearts. We bring into our circle of love and care those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit, those who are lonely, those who are overwhelmed and feeling lost, those who have been wronged. We are a part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, to care. May it ever be so in our lives. Amen, and blessed be.
Since it's a meditation, we can remain seated for this one. 1031, filled with loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Well, we've got a special guest in the sanctuary today, someone who normally watches the service from the outside. But today, I invited this guest to come in. We have got a rabbit in the room, and it's hiding in plain sight. Can anybody see it? This is not an imaginary rabbit. See, my friend right here, who normally is right there outside of that window when I come and speak here, and he kind of looks in at me sideways. And this morning I got here and I wondered, is my friend the rabbit going to day, I was going to let this rabbit inside to attend the service with us, and then I can go back out and watch future services. And something that's really fascinating about rabbits, they've got these long ears, and usually they're very skittish animals, except for this one, who was very calm. And there is this West African story of why the rabbit has these long ears. And it's a story in which there were many animals who lived together in a little animal village, and they were all different species. But one summer there was a terrible drought in the village, and there was no water. And so the animals got together, and they decided that they were going to buy a shovel so that they could dig a well. And all of the animals went into town except for the rabbit, who was nowhere to be found. And when the animals got to town, they found that, yes, they could buy a shovel, but they didn't have any money. The only currency that they had was that each one of the different animals had a pair of long, tall ears. And they got this deal where they could buy a shovel by clipping off their long, tall ears and trading them, which they all did, except for the rabbit. And then in the story, the animals sold their long ears, and they came back and they dug, and they did find water, and they were really excited about it. But then just as they had dug their well, the rabbit came and jumped into the water to bathe himself, and he muddied up all of the water, and the animals had to wait until all of that mud had settled before they could get anything to drink. Well, the animals were there with their shovel, and when the rabbit came out of the water, they gave him such a spanking that he ran off into the woods. And they say ever since, the rabbit still has his long, tall ears, but he is very, very frightened to be around others. That was the time for all ages. Now I'm just going to kind of transition. But first we're going to transition the children. I was looking around for the children.
However, I see no children in the sanctuary. Okay, so now we will sing our children to their activities with Eve.
A few nights ago, I was downtown with some friends, and I decided that it was time to go home. So I said my goodnights, and I walked out under a pink full moon. I hadn't brought my car. So there I was at a crossroads. Either spend 35 minutes walking home, or spend 45 minutes installing an app, creating a password, uploading my bank account information. You can see where this is going. Get a cardiovascular workout, or have a rage-induced heart attack. I opted to walk, which is funny because the internet gives us a zillion choices, right? Like Uber, Lyft, Zoom. Like I could have just done a Zoom conference with my bed from the sidewalk. We get all of these choices, but then we can forget that our options include unplugging from the computer and using the greatest machine ever created, the human body. It was a good walk. I had been dealing with a lot of disgust and disappointment, and it was nice to air it out. But I didn't have to spend the walk stewing in misery. I kept getting distracted because there were rabbits. There's a time of night when buffalo belongs to the rabbits. And they didn't dart away. They're city rabbits. And no white rabbit beckoned me down any sewer grates. They were just there on the lawns with their sidewalk glances and ridiculous puffy tails. Me and the moon and the rabbits. I pondered this a bit, and suddenly there was my house. Like it just popped up out of nowhere. Apparently, 35 minutes had come and gone, and it was time to go to bed. Thinking about rabbits. You know, the rabbit is a prolific breeder with the ability to conceive one litter while already pregnant with another litter. A female bunny can bear 8 to 12 litters a year, averaging 6 bunnies per litter. Rabbit multiplication, I found out, is exponential. I have read that one reproductive pair of rabbits and their offspring can produce almost 4 million rabbits in 4 years. The most famous rabbit in religion is definitely the Easter Bunny. A rabbit so miraculous that it can lay eggs. Think about this for a moment. And then remember that when the Easter Bunny is depicted in humanoid form wearing clothes, it's almost always male. It's a male rabbit that can lay eggs. Chocolate eggs that look like deformed rabbit droppings. Why is it that in Christian culture, people feel more comfortable with their kids eating something left in the yard by a rabbit who's male instead of female? It's not like on Easter Sunday, roosters have to lay eggs, right? For us to hard boil and color and eat. We still eat the eggs of hens, but the Easter Bunny, for some reason, is male, and also it's a mammal who lays eggs. Anyway, this rabbit, before Easter was born, this rabbit was the messenger of the spring goddess Ostara. And there are some old stories which tell us how this rabbit got this special ability. They say that the goddess Ostara once found a little bird freezing in the snow. Some say it was a swallow, but they don't specify whether it was the African swallow or the European swallow or could carry a coconut. Anyway, she pitied this poor freezing bird and decided to give it a fur coat. And not wanting to kill a bunny, she transformed the bird into a rabbit so it could be warm in its rabbit fur. And they say that once a year, as spring approaches, this enchanted rabbit temporarily regains its avian reproductive apparatus and the ability to lay eggs. That is one messed up story. I didn't hear it when I was a kid. As a matter of fact, I'd never heard it until I started working on this sermon, but I found it online attributed to, if you can believe it, the November 1896 issue of Popular Science Monthly. So I guess that's what they called science in 1896. I doubt they're still teaching that in biology classes. But ornithology never has been very popular among the sciences. Rabbits can be associated with luck, like an old tradition of saying rabbit, rabbit on the first day of the month. And of course, the lucky rabbit's foot, which is ironic because that foot wasn't very lucky for the rabbit. Rabbits can also symbolize the dangers of laziness and pride. I'm sure we all remember how the race with the turtle ended up. It's one of the most famous fables, far more well known than the story of the turtle who raced a gentleman from Germany, Das Tortoise and Mein Herr. That folktale is actually so obscure that it didn't even exist before I just made it up. In many African cultures, the rabbit is a symbol of a trickster and an underdog who has to use its wits in order to win. In one story, Rabbit's wife complains that he is too lazy to plow the field. So he goes out, but instead of doing the work, he goes to the edge of the village and challenges an elephant to a tug of war and says that the loser has to do the winner's farm work. So he ties a long rope to the elephant's tail and he hops off, saying that the contest will begin when the elephant feels the first strong pull. And the rabbit hopped all the way to the other side of the village where he met a hippopotamus. And he made the same bet over a game of tug of war. And so, having tied their tails together, he gets them pulling and attaches his plow to the center of the rope. And with the hippo and the elephant struggling against each other, the rabbit's field gets done in no time, and then he just cuts the rope and sends them both tumbling off in opposite directions. This is one of those stories in which the little person, the underdog, has to outsmart those who are larger and more powerful. The rabbit, as resourceful trickster, lives on in the Looney Tunes character Bugs Bunny, who's always being hunted and who always needs to use his boundless creativity to escape the hunter, Elmer Fudd. Native North Americans also have stories of rabbits who have to outsmart their predators. In one story, the rabbit was pursued by a coyote all day. And finally, after dark, the rabbit realized it couldn't run anymore. So it sat by a lake and, downcast with despair, saw the moon reflected in the water. The coyote approached, stalking nearer and nearer, but found that the rabbit made no attempt to escape. So the coyote asked, "What are you looking at?" The rabbit said, "I don't know. I think it's a cheese. You see, there's a big wheel of blue cheese at the bottom of the lake." And the coyote looked down and saw this big bright circle and thought about how well some cheese would go with his rabbit dinner. "Hey," the coyote said, "how do you think we get it?" "I don't know. We'd drown trying to swim down there. The only thing I can think of is drain the lake." The coyote said, "How?" And the rabbit said, "You drink it, silly." The coyote said, "But the lake is bigger than my body." And the rabbit said, "Yeah, but it just comes out the other end and you keep going." Well, the coyote couldn't argue with this, so he drank and drank and drank the lake. But by the end of it, he was so waterlogged inside that the rabbit was able to get away. That's a good story. There's another story from Peru where the rabbit is being chased by a coyote and it leaps high into the air and lands on the moon. And the coyote sits down and stares up at the moon and realizes that this rabbit he was about to eat is the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. and he doesn't want to eat it anymore. He's fallen in love. But it's too late to explain this. The rabbit is gone. So the coyote throws back his head and starts crying. And they say that heartbroken coyotes have been wailing at the moon ever since. Anyway, that's one explanation of how the rabbit got on the moon. This thing of a rabbit on the moon is something that as a teacher and writer I come across in numerous cultures. And so I decided that for today I would kind of I would put together, what are these stories about this rabbit? Is there a rabbit on the moon? Here's a true story. As astronauts were briefed before the Apollo 11 launched for the first moon landing in 1969, a member of ground control told them, and this is a direct quote, "Among the large headlines concerning Apollo this morning is one asking if you will watch for a lovely girl and a big rabbit. An ancient Chinese legend says that a girl named Shang-O has been living there on the moon for 4,000 years. It seems she was banished to the moon because she stole a pill of immortality from her husband. You might also look for her companion, a large Chinese rabbit who is easy to spot since he is always standing on his hind legs in the shade of a cinnamon tree." Astronaut Michael Collins responded, "Okay, we'll keep a close eye out for the bunny girl." Well, neither Armstrong nor Aldrin mentioned it, and Collins was not part of the moon landing. But it turns out, if you look very closely at the moon landing footage shot in Hollywood, California, you'll notice Harvey, the big white rabbit, who was on loan from Universal Pictures. Even if Shang-O and her rabbit were not spotted on the moon landing, we've all seen her now, since one of the impact craters on the moon has been named Shang-O after her. I've lived under the moon for about half my life, and never once have I seen a rabbit. But while researching for this message, I came across an image where somebody highlighted the outline on the lunar surface, and I'll be darned, it's really there. A rabbit on its hind legs looking over some kind of drum or bucket. It's like one of those magic eye things, like once you've seen the image, the moon will never look the same way again. I put this image on the screen so that those of us who are familiar with the moon can see what people are talking about when they say that there's this rabbit standing over like a drum or a container. This is something that we find in Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese mythologies, in which the jade rabbit, they say, has a mortar and pestle used to grind the ingredients for either rice cakes or a powder of immortality. In a Buddhist legend from ancient India, there was a monkey, an otter, a jackal, and a rabbit who had a contest to see who could be the most charitable on the night of a full moon. And they came upon a homeless person who was sitting by a fire with nothing to cook and nothing to eat. So all four of these animals scrambled off to get him some food. The monkey picked fruits from high in the trees. The otter dove down into the river to return with fish. The jackal hunted a lizard. And the rabbit realized that it couldn't get anything but grass. So when the others delivered their gifts of food, the rabbit came up and hopped into the beggar's fire to offer himself to eat. Now, the old man turned out to be a deity in disguise and pulled the rabbit unharmed from the flames and declared him to be a bodhisattva, a great enlightened Buddhist teacher. And in his honor, they say, this deity then drew the rabbit's portrait on the surface of the moon. This is not the only story about how self-immolation got the rabbit onto the moon. I was reading an Aztec myth from Central America where they say that two gods, in the early days of creation, two gods were elected to become the sun and the moon. And they told this proud and handsome God that he would shine as the sun, and they told a shy and ugly God that he would have to be the moon. And in order to illuminate themselves, they were both instructed to leap into a bonfire. But at the last minute, the proud, handsome God stumbled, terrified by the blaze, while the shy God leapt into it. Not to be outdone, the proud God jumped in after him. But as they emerged, glowing with flame, one of the elder deities who was present, disgusted with the handsome God's cowardice, picked up a rabbit and threw it at his face. And they say that this extinguished his flame and left a permanent imprint, the shape of a bunny. And so he had to become the moon. The moral of the story is, of course, you should always leap before you look. Or don't look at all if you're an Aztec about to be sacrificed. The most fascinating aspect of Aztec rabbit mythology, we'll close out with this, is called the Senson Totochkin, meaning the 400 rabbits who are the Aztec spirits of drunkenness. The Aztecs believed that each form of intoxication, boastful, bashful, belligerent, social, sentimental, sloshed, out cold in the corner, every manifestation of intoxication had its own rabbit guardian angel. Or perhaps better said, they believed that the consumption of intoxicants would summon one of these spirits to possess the drinker, and no one could predict which one it would be. So when your drunken buddy totally embarrassed himself, herself, you would nod your head at the other guests and say, "He has become his rabbit." And they would understand. The Aztecs believe in a sort of rabbit roulette. Like life is like a box of rabbits and you never know what you're going to get. Well, I'm not suggesting that we all start conducting experiments to meet our spirit rabbits. But in mythologies throughout space and time, we encounter the rabbit as a spirit of generosity, ingenuity, creativity. In these beliefs from all over the world, there is this common theme that the rabbits are out there, or that maybe they're inside of us, and that they are waiting for us, the people, to finally become our rabbits. Thank you.
Despite what your program says, we are at 1008 in the teal hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our response, "When Our Heart is in a Holy Place." Then remain standing as we close this portion of the service by extinguishing the chalice. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the goes within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. Heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
We extinguish this flame, but not the life of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. Let me tell you about some of the opportunities to connect and serve in the days to come. Each Sunday during the month of July, we are offering a Sunday morning Church of the Wild meditation time in the Ecology Center just beyond our parking lot. Lorraine Marcus will be waiting at the entrance on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. The meditation time is 45 minutes, so you'll still have plenty of time to make it to the morning service. Are you curious what it might be like to meditate in nature among birdsong and rustling leaves? Find out for yourself Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. Next week, our minister, Reverend Michelle Buhite, returns to the pulpit to discuss the fundamentals of our Unitarian Universalist faith, our principles. There will be activities for children and youth, as well as childcare for our littles. Also, please join us today for a Connections meeting at 11:55 a.m. today after coffee hour. We will gather in the Emerson Room. All who want to be part of welcoming and nurturing our congregation are welcome. Thank you to all who have signed up for greeting. We have a full spreadsheet for July and August. Linda Joy will send out the September link in August. Also, please visit the garden in the front of the building by the pantry porch. Lots of things are growing. If you want to help, see Linda Joy. Finally, see the church newsletter, The Forward, for information regarding upcoming services and events. Hard copies can be found in the lobby. The digital version is on our website, uuamherst.org. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't invite you to participate in supporting the mission and ministry of UU Amherst with your financial gifts. You'll find a green basket at the back of the chapel to receive your contributions, or you can give online by going to our website, uuamherst.org, and clicking on the giving link, or text your gift to the number on the screen. Your gifts and participation are important because we pick fruit from trees we did not plant. We drink water from wells we did not dig. This is as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after us. Your generous giving supports the work of this congregation. Now all please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing blessing. Remain, that's it, as we sing our
Together we have sanctified this space. If you have found strength and comfort here, share some out there. They need it. Remember that you are blessed and you are a blessing, and you are not alone.